All right. We are going to be doing lesson 2-1 today, which is writing and solving equations. We're going to be using the algebraic method to solve equations, and we are also going to be writing and solving an equation to model a real-world situation. We have got 3 separate chunks for today's lesson, and the first chunk is going to start with questions 1 to 3. Questions 1 to 3. The first part of the question says, let's play. What's my number? It asks you to think of a scenario and determine the number and how you came up with the solution to the scenario. Then in number 2, it says you could have written an equation for number 1. Write the equation that would represent the problem in item 1. And then in question 3, it gives you a equation and it gives you a value of x that they say might be a solution. And you're to determine whether the given value is a solution, which means that it makes the equation true. If not, explain why. So I'm going to have you take 10 minutes, you and your table mates, to work through the what's my number, come up with an equation, and then determine whether the given numbers or the given values for x are solutions to the equations for number 3. So again, pause the video, 10 minutes time, and work through questions 1 to 3. So now questions 1, 2, and 3 have been worked for us. Number 1, I actually used the guess and check method. I started out by plugging in 3. It says if you multiply me by 3, so I did 3 times 3 is 9, and you add 5, I'm going to get 20. Well, whenever I did 3 times 3 was 9, 9 plus 5 is not 20, so it wasn't 3. So then I did 3 times 4. This time I got 12 plus 5. Again, that's still not 20. Now I'm done 3 times 5 plus 5 equals 15 plus 5, and 15 plus 5 is 20. So 5 is the number, and I use the guess and check method. Now, you'll notice that whenever I set this up, I kept plugging into this 3 times something plus 5, and I was trying to see if it equaled a certain number. So we could come up with what we call an equation. X is called a variable, and it represents an unknown value. So I've got 3 times x plus 5 equals 20. We'll get to that a little bit later and where they actually solve it to see if it works. Let's go ahead and take a look at number 3. Number 3, it asked if particular values were the solutions. So what I did was, in order for the solution to be true, we have to substitute it in for that variable. So I plugged it in for x. So here it said x is 6, so I plugged it in, and whenever I worked through the math in order, I did get that it worked. 22 does equal 22. However, for B and C, whenever I plugged those particular values that they gave me in, they did not work. So therefore, they are not solutions to the equations. I want you to go ahead and do your debriefing, and then we'll move on to the next section.